Greg Winkler. It's my job to welcome you here. I believe there will be a tour after the presentation is made. And so now I'm going to introduce to you the mayor of the city of Anderson, Thomas Broderick, and then we'll have Corey Sharp saying a few words from Purdue, and Dr. Schaefer. Mayor?
Right here.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Greg. I know sitting out there, there's a little bit of an echo, so I'll try to talk loud enough so everybody can hear me and hopefully pick up some of the things we're going to say today. First off, I want to welcome all of you and good morning. It's a usual Indiana day. We were running around our shorts 2-3 days ago. Now we're out here getting ready to get our sleds out. I want to tell you how proud I am to be here in this facility. Shortly, a couple months or so, I believe it is, we're going to do the official ribbon cutting here. And I can tell you, though, as one of the first folks to have the opportunity to speak prior to that it really is truly an honor. Everyone knows the history of this general area, of course, going back some 25 years ago when we began to lose so much employment through the changes of the economy and through the culture of manufacturing in the United States at the time, and that we, of course, lost over 20-some thousand jobs here in the Anderson-Madison County area. And of course, this very site that we're standing on right now was part of the General Motors facilities, particularly the Plant 3, which of course the P3 designation comes from for this building, but several other plants as well as we go out towards the south and behind us. And you know, the reality is that while we have for so many years been disappointed in that loss, the truth is that we always knew that nothing stays constant. Things have to continue to change. And in reality, here in Anderson, folks working in the city a lot of times wear these city seals, and they have the dates of the history of the time frame of the formation of our city over 150 years ago now. And we look back at what's happened in those 150 plus years, and as all of you know, Anderson has always been on the move. It's always been a community of innovation. And in fact, the city formulated long before the 1865 date we talk about, and then eventually became a village again, and then became a city yet again, and then moved on to the present time. And through all those years, though, there's always been this constant heart, if you will, of the community that continues to strive to grow, to be better, and to become a critical part of a community, not just here, but regionally and statewide and really nationwide. The General Motors facilities that were once here, as you all know, manufactured parts and pieces of vehicles that traveled around on every vehicle in every city practically, not only in the United States, but across the world. And so many of those things were developed by the very people that resided here in this community. And so that's sort of the background of the type of quality of individuals that we have living here and have lived here in the past. So we find ourselves here today now, sitting here in this brand new facility that is so much different than anything that any of us have really ever seen before, a facility that's going to give great opportunity to folks that pass through it and in this community to be able to continue to move forward, to be able to continue to innovate, and to continue to make Anderson a great place on the map. And I want to commend the folks that are here, and I'm going to introduce at least one of them here in a moment, and others will be introduced after me, who have taken such an integral part in all of this. And Corey Sharp, who I'm going to bring up here in a minute, is the director, but Purdue and Purdue Polytechnic, as it's called here now, under the guidance of Andy Schaefer, is helping again to bring back and continue forward great innovations that are going to help make our future a great future. I can tell you that all of you here today, those of you who are manufacturers, those of you who are educators, and we appreciate all of you coming and taking part in this, because one of our great efforts has been to bring the manufacturers of our community together with our educators to make sure that everyone knows who everyone is, and that we work together to provide our relevant education, particularly as it relates to STEM, in order to help our young folks have opportunities in order that they can move forward. These kids that all of you are working with today, either as educators or eventually as manufacturers, are not the kids that we all were. I had the opportunity just a couple of days ago, and I go around a lot of the schools, but I had the opportunity a couple of days ago to be at APA, and I talked to about 50 kids there. These kids, I tell you what, to say that they were well-minded would somewhat be disservice to them. They appeared to be someone that, and people who were very seldom unminded. These kids were really on top of it. They were juniors, they were seniors. In one of their classrooms, they had some books laying around, aerospace technology. I don't remember taking aerospace technology when I was in high school. I don't remember being in a shop class that quite looked like this when I was in school. I can tell you that these young people who are our future, because of facilities like this and educators like you and manufacturers like you, are going to help continue to build not only our community, but America. And I'm proud to be here as the mayor to help continue on. There's no one person, there's no one group of people that deserve credit for everything that continues to occur. It's the work of all of us coming together, year in, year out, generation in, generation out, that makes this a great community. I'm proud to be here. Thank you again very much. And let me at this time take the opportunity to introduce to you the director, Corey Sharp.
Thank you, Mayor Broderick. It is absolutely a pleasure to be here this morning with the Manufacturing Roundtable, including both the manufacturers and educators, to kind of share our new space that we have. It's an exciting time. It's been an unbelievable 3 years to get to this point. And it really starts with a great team that started this off, and that includes Greg Winkler, Pete Bitar, Chuck Staley, and we worked tirelessly over the last 3 to 4 years to make this day happen. You know, it was Greg's vision in terms of the financing and the organization, flagships, stability, and ability to manage a project of this size, and with Pete and his inspiration and continually pushing us to have a space that's innovative, that's going to take Anderson to the 21st century. It was all three of those visions kind of coming together with Purdue University to make this day possible. So I want to thank those three individuals for all their effort over the last several years. And I also want to thank Mike Frischkorn as well. Mike has moved over to Carmel, and but he was also very instrumental in getting a lot of this done. So I want to thank Mike. I also want to thank some of our corporate sponsors that have helped over the last year or so. It's been unbelievable. Obviously, the City of Anderson, this would not have happened without their support and the use of the CREED funds and the TIF dollars. And so the folks here from the Anderson Redevelopment Commission, City Council members, you know, we have to thank them, because this wouldn't have worked without you. And also, again, our corporate sponsors stepped up. You know, right behind me, just right up here, you can see the sign, Red Gold. They stepped up to the plate with a leading gift that really made this happen. And so I want to thank Tim Engel, John Carlson, the Reichert family for really making this facility a special place. I also want to thank SMC Corporation from Noblesville. They contributed over $500,000 worth of mechatronics and pneumatic equipment to this facility to make it a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility. And during the tour, you'll get a chance to meet with Rodney Ailes and some of the technology that we're anticipate having here. It's actually, all our training equipment is still in Spain. It's going to be here in February. So we're excited about what that technology will provide. I got to thank CSX for the trains that are going by. But I always said that if Purdue can't handle a train or two, then who can, right? So I want to thank SMC, Herco Machine and Humston Machinery. We were able to get a fantastic donation through Andy's leadership, providing state-of-the-art CNC technology. I also want to thank MoFab, this room right over here with the gold panels. MoFab really stepped up, and it's called the MoFabulous Room. So we're really happy about that. And so those are some of our key corporate partners that made this facility what it is today. So I want to thank them. Also, I want to just kind of walk through just this quick brochure quickly before I hand it over to Dr. Schaefer. You know, Purdue has been here in Anderson for over 30 years. And as Mayor talked about, you know, this was a General Motors area, and we are an integral part of supporting the workforce development initiatives of General Motors. That was our primary mission, you know, helping individuals go from production to an engineering position or a technology position of some kind with our electrical engineering technology degrees and our computer and information technology degrees. So that was kind of where we started. And Dennis Owens around here somewhere. There's Dennis. Dennis was with us during those days of working with General Motors, and it really started from there. But as the mayor talked about, things change. And we started to look at offering bachelor's degrees, things that can help people become more advanced in their skill set and how they can have a bigger impact in the workplace. And so you'll see through this brochure some of the things that we offer and what we're doing and how we're supporting the local economy. Our primary degrees that we are offering right now, if you look at, I think it's the page 9, you can see the list of our degrees that we offer. In areas of computer and information technology, where students can study application development, database skills, those types of things. Engineering technology, which is a good cross-section of mechanical and electrical engineering technology. We also focus on industrial engineering technology and leadership. Our industrial engineering technology program, we've revamped that particular degree where it focuses even more on quality and process. How a manufacturing system can make more profit more efficiently, those kinds of things. Our organizational leadership, this continues to be a great program, especially for folks who are in a technical field but want to move on and move into management and how to lead people. People are the most valuable asset in an organization, and this is a program that we've always had. I know this is something that Red Gold values, and we're proud to offer that degree. One of our newest degrees is Mechatronics Engineering Technology. That's where our partnership with SMC Corporation has been so important, so we can have state-of-the-art automation and technology available to help with highly automated systems in a manufacturing system, whether it's in a work cell or an assembly line. Our Mechatronics Engineering Technology degree is really, I think, going to help students be on the cutting edge to work at places like NTN, Nestle, Red Gold, those places. And then supply chain management technology. That's really kind of more of our business-related degree, looking from the raw product to getting it out for sales and the whole process in between. So we're really proud of this degree, these set of degrees. One of the things that's hidden behind here is always innovation. We're trying to keep our students thinking more in an entrepreneurial kind of way. We have a lot of senior projects and class projects where we're giving the students real-world projects that are not just something out of a textbook. We're working with companies like Kaheen and Red Gold to come along with projects that are meaningful for the students and give them great experiences when they leave here and they're better prepared for the workforce. And Pete has given us some fantastic projects. Just right over here, the Vertipod. Our students, Pete has a patent on the counter-rotating blades. And so over the last 2 years, we've had students working on that counter-rotating blade system to change it from a flying opportunity, a flying device, to something that has power generation on a wind turbine. And Pete and I have been working with some students, and there's going to be a wind turbine in the back. That's really Pete's invention, but our students have been helping in that process throughout. So that is a major component of what we're doing, is giving these big projects to our students. If you look at the next page, you can see a little bit more about the stories of our alumni, some of our other corporate partners, things that we're working with. And so this brochure really tells our story. Also, some of our students' stories are in this booklet. Luke Groniger is here, and I don't know where Luke's at. I saw him, and he works at Technoplast. Luke, where are you? Right over there with Gloria. And Luke's story is in here, and he's one of the students that is a great success story. We were able to find a great matchup with Gloria at Technoplast. He's an intern there, and he's grown from an internship to an employee. And if you read the story, Gloria saw a lot of opportunity to him, and where it led to a trip for him to do some training and education in Italy. So that just shows you how you can do something locally here in Anderson, but have a global impact. So with that said, that kind of gives you a good 40,000 view of our degree programs. I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Andy Schaefer. He has information about our new multidisciplinary technology degree, and I think this degree program really speaks to the folks in this room on how to better prepare your workforce. So Dr. Schaefer, please come forward. And I also have to thank Dr. Schaefer. Without his leadership, we wouldn't be here either. He helped us get this project through the Purdue system. Purdue is a little bureaucratic, and it was his determination and his leadership that helped make this happen. And lastly, I want to thank our faculty and staff. They put up with me for the last 3 years. My prayers are with them because I know I drove them crazy, and for all the folks that have been here at Purdue, I can't thank them enough for making this day happen. Dr. Schaefer?
Thank you, Corey. There are some things being passed around, and while the administration of some paperwork is in place, I also wanted to do, I think, a very important thank you. I've been had the opportunity and the pleasure now to see Purdue Polytechnic locations transition into this being the third new building. And you've all moved houses and moved businesses and operations. You know how overwhelming that is and how much work is involved. The other two buildings where we moved from old facilities to new were done over the summer. So the students wrap up their finals in the spring and they move on. We do some things in the summer, but not nearly as much. So it was much easier to move lots of equipment and offices and files and desks and everything over the summer. The folks here, the faculty and staff under Corey's leadership and all these folks, we had a lot of great student helpers. Basically in the 3-week period between finals ending in December and classes starting just a couple of weeks ago, made the transition over to this building. And so that was just a Herculean task and amazing result of when you walk around today to see what they've done. And we still have a few things, post-it notes with room numbers on the door because we're still waiting, door placards and things like that. Not the staff's fault, just the artifact of ordering new things. But I just wanted to acknowledge all the Purdue folks here and all the support we had to get this moved over. And when the students walked in here for the spring semester, to walk into this facility and see this place and have it up and running. So thank you all. Well, good morning. Thank you for attending and allowing us to host this event here in the new facility. I want to take just a couple of minutes and tell you about a new degree that we offer in the Polytechnic, and I'm supposed to stay by this, I'm sorry. I've been working on this for about 2 years, and it's now fully approved, and I think it'll be particularly of interest to the manufacturers here today, but I think to the educators too. And it's a Bachelor of Science degree in multidisciplinary technology. The idea of the degree, Corey listed the degrees that Purdue Polytechnic offers here in Anderson. Those are the traditional legacy degrees that are a key part of STEM education, and they're very good degrees, and many of you hire these graduates, so you know what those degrees offer and what those graduates can do for you. But thinking back to my experience in industry days before I got into education, I remember oftentimes, and I've spoken to some of you, oftentimes you hire a graduate from a degree program that's the closest thing to what you need, and then you bring them in and train them on what's left. Well, that degree didn't exactly cover all these areas, but that's close, and they've got the basic skills we need. We'll bring them in and we'll do some of this other training. The idea of this multidisciplinary technology degree is it's tremendously flexible, and it's a very skeleton plan of study. If you think about how traditional academia works, we faculty develop the plans of study. We have all these letters behind our name, so we know everything, right? So we decide how to package the courses and what are the skill sets and what are the outcomes for you. And we do have advisory boards and industrial input. We have professional organizations like the American Society for Engineering Educators, which helps us package those degrees. But by and large, the faculty drive the curriculum with some input from industry partners and industry trade groups and that type of thing. So my idea was to flip that model and let companies or industry trade groups or groups of companies be the curriculum committee, and we faculty become the advisors. And so we can sit down with you and determine what are the outcomes that you need. What are the specific things that you need somebody to do? And if that does not fit one of our traditional plans of study, we can package a curriculum for you that fits in with your career development, your succession planning for your employees. That also allows much easier transfer. I know there's some IB Tech folks here today. It's much easier to transfer in associate's degrees when you have a flexible plan, and employers say, we hire these IB Tech graduates with this skill set, this degree. We'd like to build on that for bachelor's and not have such a long track to a bachelor's degree. So that's the idea of this degree. So one of the things that was passed out was the template plan of study on the white sheet. And if you look at that, you see that there aren't a lot of specific classes listed. The ones that are listed as specific courses, those are just basic requirements that any Purdue STEM degree, any Purdue Polytechnic degree requires. So the English, the math, the statistics, those kind of things. To get a Purdue Bachelor of Science degree, you have to have those things. But you'll see most of those say primary focus area, secondary focus area, multidisciplinary selectives. That's the area where we could sit down with you and find that middle ground where one of our degrees doesn't exactly cover what it is that you're looking for, and work with you. Maybe it's a succession plan or a career development plan for some of your employees that don't yet have a bachelor's degree. We can fill that plan out for you and work with you, and we'll fill that plan out with courses that we're already offering here. So there'll just be a few more students sitting in those classes taking those things, but they're packaged in a different way than the other students in there that might be pursuing mechatronics or leadership or some of those other things. I think one of the things that's really important about this, some of you might be representing smaller companies and you think, well, I would need a cohort, I need 25, 30 people to put that together and run these employees through, and that's not the case at all. We really could do this with one person. You have an employee now, you'd like to move them through. Again, these are courses that we're already offering here in Anderson. And so we're just going to package them in a slightly different way so that you have that skill set you need of that employee as they work forward. And the last thing that I think for some of you, this is a Bachelor of Science degree. And I think largely the students in this type of degree program are going to be already employed, non-traditional students, working for you, working their way up and trying to earn this degree. And it takes a long time to earn a bachelor's degree when you're a part-time student. What I think is important for retention and also for your career development of your employees is that we could build in there stackable credentials that basically you're awarding. We call them certificates of completion, but you could identify a group of 3, 4, 5 courses, and when a student completes those set of courses, they have a credential at your company or within an industry trade group that you know, well, they're qualified to do this type of work, or maybe they're eligible for promotion or raise opportunity. So it's an incentive for them. It helps you with your employee development, but all of those courses ultimately apply to the bachelor's degree. So they're not taking a hodgepodge of things that don't really add up together particularly well toward the degree. So that's the degree really at a 100,000-foot level. And I hope to have an opportunity to sit down with some of you and talk about what outcomes you need. And the degrees that Corey described are not going away. That will be the bulk of our enrollment here. Those are the degrees that students tend to want, particularly the traditional age students coming out of high school. But if we can work with you in any way to help develop a program of study, a workforce education degree is what multidisciplinary technology is meant to be. If we can help you with that, then we look forward to working with you. You can contact me, contact Corey or any of the team here in Anderson, and we'll sit down with you and make this happen. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being here this morning. And train went by, but boiler up.
I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. One of the thoughts behind this building, and I know Chuck was a big proponent of this concept, which is the entire continuum of education is represented in this building, where students can have an academic space to learn, maybe physics, it could be an engineering course or a computer technology course. We have a maker space that has equipment that you would see in a true manufacturing area where they can actually prototype and build their ideas and hone in on that innovation area. And then in the back, we have private industries that are moving in with us. This facility isn't just about Purdue. The private industries in the back are going to be our partners, whether they're helping with internships or with projects. But with Steve, he's providing a service not only to Purdue. We're working through a partnership agreement with Steve through his Lean Environment Simulator. And we'll be doing a tour. After the tour, make sure you please stop and see Steve and his Lean Environment Simulator. If you're a manufacturer or educator, this is almost a one-of-a-kind system. And so I want to bring up Steve and Sweeney from the Center for Employee Development. Steve is originally from Michigan, is coming here and is supporting our efforts here in Anderson, Madison County. Steve?
Thank you very much, Corey. I wasn't quite sure how to lead off with this because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I don't want to waste your time. Most of you are familiar with lean, typically associated with manufacturing, and that's where it started, but it applies to health as well as transactional spaces, office spaces. My largest customer was Caterpillar. I worked with them for 2 years at developing their lean system. I worked with Wells Fargo as my largest transactional customer. And lean can improve. It is not an experiment. Lean will improve an organization. I have one customer that has one-offs. They don't do any kind of large production. It's a collision shop, and their improvement in net profits was 300% at one location and 450% in another location after 2 years of working with them. Worked with the state of Washington. Saved the taxpayers $20 million a year in ongoing savings for the taxpayers. So there's just a large number of organizations that have testified if you do lean and you do it right, it will benefit the organization. But this lean simulator is somewhat unique. There's about 70 to 75 of them in the world, and that doesn't sound so unique, but only about 5 of them are open to the public. And so we're excited about that here. The other 4 are located in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, so all in the Southeast region. And so this is just something we're excited to bring to you, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you about what we can do. It's a one-day training opportunity that will help people from owners, CEOs, to understand how lean should look and operate on the floor, to the worker who says, my company's doing lean, I'm going to have to work harder. And in reality, they find out through the training they're not working harder. They're really working smarter, and we want their minds, not just their hands and their back. So look forward to meeting you individually during the tour and afterwards if you'd like to stick around and talk. And I'm really finished at this point, Corey. I told him I'd keep it short, and hopefully that wasn't too short or too long. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And so again, back in the manufacturing space, please stop and see Steve and what we've set up, and you will be impressed. If you're a manufacturer, you're going to be impressed by his simulators.
All of our engineering technology degree students learn 3D modeling. So if they have the ability to do that, they have the ability to print something with the 3D printers. So they create a 3D model, they export it with a certain file type. That file type goes directly into 3D printer, and it spits out the product. What I've got on here is just some Purdue peas. Those 4 take about 45 minutes. So depending on the size and scale of what you're printing determines how fast or slow it can take. Some of the parts that we've printed have taken 4, 5, 6 hours to print. So it can be time consuming. However, if you look at the time it would take to go through a traditional machining process for some of those, it's significantly longer than that, right? So these will all be open to the students. Once we go through a little bit of training with them, they can come in here and they can print whatever they need to. We'll have 4 of this type of printer. Sitting on the floor somewhere because I just haven't gotten it out of a box yet, is a similar type of 3D printer. The difference with that one is it has the ability to print in structural material, so it can put in a fiberglass, a carbon fiber, steel fibers that strengthen the part. And so, according to the manufacturer, which I have not yet tested, obviously, they printed a tow hook, put it on a truck, and we're actually able to tow a trailer with a 3D printed tow hook. So that's why we're looking forward to that technology to be able to add that into what we do.
Good morning, everybody. As Kim said, I'm Jerry Paul. These are our 2 showpiece machines in the making space. They're both manufactured by Roundtable, which is an Indianapolis-based company. machine has a unique feature having a tool magazine, which we can store up to 30 other tools in that magazine. This is an example of a tool holder. There can be up to 30 of these in that magazine. Each one would then have a tool, a drill, a reamer, a tap, whatever you want. This job uses, I think, 4 or 5 different tools. Okay, the other machine is a 2-axis vertical CNC lathe. Again, computer numerical controlled. 2-axis because the tool turret, of which there are 5 tools, there is no tool changer like in that machine. 5 tools, that's the only 5 you can use until you change them. That turret will index and present to the workpiece the correct tool. So this is a 5-station turret machine. We use on this machine typically round pieces. That's the operation of turning. You start with something like this, you insert it in the chuck, you chuck on it, then the part rotates. On that machine, the tool rotates, the part's stationary. On here, the tool rotates, the tool is stationary. This is what the cutting tools typically look like. Square shank. The business end is right there. That's what's doing the cutting, that carbide insert. This is the part we're generating. Some kind of a ball knob for a joint. This is a very quick cycle, I think. 3 minutes. So I'll start this one up and you can walk in and take a glance at that one. Spindle's running at about 1,300 RPM. That means the part's turning at about 1,300 RPM.
Eventually there will be a mezzanine because we plan to grow big enough to have offices up in this area as well. So eventually this will walk out to the mezzanine. You know, I know our math classes are taught in here. And so it's really cool that students can be all over the room writing. And so it's just a new concept, these whiteboards are.
We have a PLC set up over here, so the students get to work on a programmable logic controller, and they learn the digital concepts of the controller. Then they start with learning about relays and relay ladder logic, and then the PLC programming that they are using in this class is the PLC ladder logic. So they start from the relay ladder logic and convert it to the PLC ladder logic. So they get to work on digital concepts. Now this is a simple PLC setup over here. So we have some push buttons over here which simulate the PLC panel which they would see in the industry. And so these are the inputs, and we have with the output, which are these lights which simulate the outputs for the PLC. So these are just digital inputs and outputs. So they get to work on this. They learn about the electrical concepts behind it. They wire their own setup.
As you can tell, we've got tables so we can set up for a dinner if we need to. And I plan on having graduation here. I do the graduation. So this will be where we hold our graduation this year. And it's just kind of a cool room. And when we get downstairs, you can see it extends into another room.
Well, welcome to one of our 2 huddle rooms. I'm Lori and this is Faye, and we teach out of the TLI department. This is a very cool room in that as where you're sitting, these pods come apart. They let us do, like if we're testing, we can have them roll out and separate themselves. We can use squares, rectangles. But the cool part is the centerpiece that you see will allow us to present from each of those pods. So if you'll look behind you, you can see that the group that Dawn is sitting with, if it were their turn to go, they would be up to present. And then all the while, the main lecture display is up, so we can kind of go back and forth if we need to. We can have each of these pods up. That computer just died, so that was perfect timing. And then you can see the whiteboards. That also helps us collaborate and do team building. And so we call these our huddle rooms. And very happy with the technology. The audio that pipes through is extraordinary. So really will enhance our ability to collaborate with these teams and with leadership and change and project management and all the things that are in that TLI focus. Faye's going to spend a few minutes about how we can help you and some things we do with corporate training. So Faye?
One of the things we want to make a commitment to is how do we help an organization who says, yes, our workforce needs a little bit more training, but nothing like an associate's degree to spend that much time in. And then we're looking at this phenomenon going around that I'm sure you've heard over and over and over again, is that this has become a very multi-generational workforce. And this multi-generational workforce is very different. So what you see on the screen up here kind of highlights it. I'll hit some of those areas in a little bit. But what we try to do is say our goal is to help you optimize this workforce so that they can be as efficient as possible, as productive as possible, and really like working with each other. Because sometimes you're going to have some millennials saying, I'm working with my grandpa or my grandma, and you know, sometimes we get along, sometimes we don't. Because we know that whole adage, you know, the reason why grandchildren and grandparents get along so well is they have a common enemy. And so with that, when you have, and then so you kind of have that parent person in the workforce as well, that can get a little adversarial, especially when their needs are very different. But with the handout that we have that's sitting on the table, please take that with you, because what we're trying to do is look at with this generation, and I'm going to worry about that. Because the way we don't do anything with these quick, what happens is, because we're, again, a very sustainable structure, and we're in the, you know, with how we're optimizing our energy efficiencies and all that, it gets in the place if you don't use this quickly, you lose your thing on the table. So even as we're lecturing, we got to keep moving the screen or changing it around, because this generation, especially that we're teaching, does not have a high attention span. So that some of you will know that are working with this age group that's even younger than the millennials now. So with that, we look at how do we help a generation that wants to be very engaged in the workforce, because they don't see themselves as an employee working for a firm. They say, I'm working with the organization. Then you look at the generation before them, they're saying, well, I'm putting together kind of my own personal resume and developing skills that I can leverage into other places. So they don't think long-term of staying in one company, but how do we, if we've got someone in that age that we want to retain, how do we do that? So some of that is giving them more training. So the sheet we gave you says, sometimes you may want your organization to know more about how the organization operates from a business standpoint. So we have some basic business courses there for them to understand how the business operates with your P&Ls and those kind of things. But then also, most of the time, there's projects that need to be done. So how do we help develop a project management culture? So with that, we can do maybe a few weeks of training saying, let's look at how we go about putting a group together. Again, not wanting them long-term to have to get training, because some may be very uncomfortable with getting back into the school setting if they've been out of it for a while. This gives them ability to kind of get their toes wet a little bit with being in this institution, at this facility, or sometimes we go to yours as well, to say, let's just do this for a few weeks and then get some understanding, again, of understanding business or project management. With project management, then, we've got to look at putting teams together. So then we give training on how do you look at such a diverse workforce, because this is one of the most diverse we've ever had in this country, to get together to embrace those differences, but to maximize what this team's output's going to be. Then from there, okay, now that we've done that and they've got some understanding of how teams go, do team building skills, then how do we make this work into getting them to look at systems? Because most of the time, organizations want people to look at things in totality, and not just in their kind of little silos. So with that, we would have some training of also that we could provide in the way of systems thinking, and then looking at how we go about understanding maybe lean management structures and lean management systems, and then also change management systems. Because if you're an organization and most have to change because of the environmental changes going on in your particular areas, how to help them understand that when you're doing a massive change management of an organization, what that means, and we can walk them through that. Everybody's not going to move at the same pace, and that's okay. And getting that understanding tends to help an organization when it's making transitions. They're able to do it because now their whole workforce understands why the change is needed and then how the progression of change is going to go about. Then as we look at this particular chart you're looking at, again, it gets us in the mind of, first of all, how one communicates and getting everybody aware that it's okay to have different communication channels. Because if any of you have ever had to deal with the millennials, sending them an email is probably not too good, but they can get it on their phones. But of course, they prefer the text. And that's why they gravitate to things like Twitter and Instagram, because it's really short, get to the point, I don't want a lengthy email. Other generations say, I prefer this, I don't like my technology as well. Then when you get to the boomers and the maturists, they tend to say, I would rather you call me in general communication. So what organizations are having to learn is we have to be a little more customizing and a little more flexible even in our communication channels within the workforce. And then to get them an understanding of, we can do this, it's possible, but knowing that the best forms are very different from generation to generation and the tools they use to that. Also, even how they look at their careers. Again, I talked about earlier, the millennials focusing on, they all kind of want to be these pseudo-entrepreneurs a little bit within the organizations. And we can make that happen kind of from a term called entrepreneurship, where they look at, I'm working with the organization, not for them. And then earlier with the Generation X, they're looking to develop a skill set in a certain profession, but maybe not with you. So how do we help you retain them, especially in strong talent pool? You want to retain them. We work on how do we help you do that as well, to keep them engaged and to stay with it if you see them as a value. And especially when we're looking at now how to get this one moving in to key areas, because this generation is starting to retire, but how they view what they're doing is very different. So what we did here is probably not going to work here, and so we help with that as well. But again, normally getting them some mini training sessions and how we do our corporate training tends to help not only for them, but for you all as well.